Hello, gay men, and welcome to Coming Inside Out. I'm John Duerler.
I'm Brian James.
Brian, look, I got purple on you, or lavender. That's nice.
I don't know what color it is, but yes,
it's a nice color.
It's a nice color. Thank you. Well, it's a sweater too. It's sweater weather.
It's sweater weather. It's sweater weather. Absolutely. Amy Poehler and Maya Rudolph.
That is hilarious.
Which, by the way, I know I'm dating this show now that I'm talking about. But, Saturday Night Live always does the great, skits for political stuff. And Meyer was playing Kamala.
Yes.
And, but now that other dude's going to have 4 years to play.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it was very interesting. I was watching it last night. I remember watching with my dad when that first came out 50 years ago. I'm 57. And I remember 7 years old. And my dad, my parents had divorced. My dad was what do you call it? Bandito. He was a bandito with Harley Davidsons, and he had
You know what the hell that is?
Well, they're the badasses, Harleys, and they.
Oh, he was a biker.
Oh, he was a total biker. He was a total biker. And I'm youngest of four, and I would always long to go and see my dad, but he was like a kid himself. Wasn't a father. He just wasn't. No. But he would begrudgingly have to come and get me. But I remember growing up around there, they were all watching Saturday Night Live. They're all smoking weed. I felt like the dude in Mask. I don't know if you ever seen Mask with Cher.
Boy, look at you! You're pulling all of these things out.
Yeah, but it was like I'm like, wait, that was, even though my face wasn't fucked up like his, but that was me, and hanging out with my dad, and all the people were coming over, and the ladies, their titties hanging out. It was. Yeah, there you go. Little insight. I don't know where. Sorry, I just took off.
That's okay.
Down the road. Down the road. Where are we?
Well, I thought we would start this episode. I had shared with you, and the listeners know, I am on Scruff and Grinder. I know you don't know what those apps are, but those are hookup apps. But I posted on there that I do a podcast, so I get people reaching out to me, more talking about, and I talk to them more about my podcast than I talk to them about anything else. But I'm also...
Wait a minute. You're on Grinder and Scruff, and you're talking about
my podcast.
The podcast.
The podcast, but yes, to them.
And the only reason they're there is to hook up.
Well, people do say that they met their partner on Scruff and Grinder.
Right? You're absolutely right.
If I'm on there has to be somebody out there in the universe that's on there the same way I am.
No, I agree.
In Palm Springs, I had people reaching out to me, and I
think they reach around.
I think I shared with you. They'll text me, I'll text them, but it goes back and forth like 5-6 times, and then they're done.
Right.
They move on, or they start sending me dick pics or whatever like that.
Do you have any dick pics?
I don't have dick pics on. Well, part of that is I have my older son, my 20-year-old son. When so my 20-year-old.
What a segue! You have your dick pics?
Yes.
No, but my 20-year-old.
I'm going to tell you why. Because when I first logged into Grindr for the very first time, my son was on there, and I was like, oh. So I blocked.
You saw your son on Grindr.
Yeah.
Keep it in the family, right?
So I thought, you know what? I need to keep this as G-rated as possible. And, I blocked him. I'm sure he blocked me or whatever. And I don't use Scruff and Grinder when I'm at home. I usually use it when I'm away from home. Like I opened it when I got here.
Yeah.
So I don't use it in my backyard. But anyways.
Right now is the time to introduce Coca-Cola. You can't do that?
Well, no, because it's promotional, and you have to click on.
I hate that. We'll cut that out.
If you're promoting.
I just thought they didn't like gays drinking their product.
Well, you can drink your product,
but you can't promote it. That's very interesting.
Yeah, well, because then it turns into a promotional.
Oh, it was just a joke, but I get it. Okay. Thank you.
But I wanted to say, because I'm also on a dating app, and people are posting on these dating apps their sexual preference. And like if you're a top or you're a bottom. And on a dating app, I feel it's different than a hookup app, because a hookup app, you just want to hook up.
Sure.
But a dating app, you want to meet people, you want to get to know people, you want to be friendly with the person before you find out more. Because my best buddy David and I met on Match, and we were not a match, but had we both posted all of our sexual shit on there, we wouldn't be friends today. And we've been the best of friends for 2 years.
Who is this?
David. Not his
Really?
last name.
Our
Our David.
Oh, no way.
I have been best friends. We met on Match. So I meet this guy on Match. He and I are chatting back and forth, and like the third text into it, he's like, "Oh, my love language is I'm a bottom, I'm a bottom, I'm a bottom," and he keeps telling me how he's a bottom, and I'm like, "Okay, you're a bottom, dude. I get it. You're a bottom." But aren't you on here to meet friends also? Because if you're not a top, then he's moving on.
Yeah.
I thought so. This came to my mind. I wrote this down. On dating apps are different than hookup apps because can you imagine if you're on like Christian Mingle and a woman posts on there that she doesn't give blowjobs? She never have a fucking date.
Let's back up. On Christian Mingle.
Or
I wouldn't think
a regular dating.
Oh, was this hypothetical, or did you see this?
No, I didn't see it. I'm just saying if a woman, so for men, it's like, oh, I'm a top, I'm a bottom, I'm a this, I'm a that on a dating app. On a regular Match.com,
sure,
between a man and a woman,
right?
If a woman posted that she didn't give blowjobs, how many dates would she go on?
Probably a lot.
You have to save that until after you're married.
Well, that's interesting, Brian. Now, this is a very good point that you bring up because, look, heterosexuals want to hook up just like Grinder and that. And do they have anything? Is that Tinder? I think Tinder is it Tinder more? Is that more of a hookup app for heteros?
Yeah, because I have a friend whose daughter hooks up on Tinder.
And the women are so liberated.
Yeah, they just want to have sex.
And I think we've talked about this before. It was a stigma for women. They would be a slut, they would be a whore if they. And no, they're freeing. And they can do what they want to do.
Yeah. So when you're, do you? So I'm going to read a letter from a listener. A listener wrote in. This was to me on. What do you call this? Messenger, Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
He said some nice things about the podcast.
Thank you for saying that.
But then he says, by the way, I know it's really none of my business, and you can certainly tell me so. Do you consider yourself a top or a bottom? That's what he asked me. Is there any shame with being a bottom?
Well, traditionally there was. And
when was there shame? Recently, or just as you come out?
I can't answer that, but traditionally, I think in the past it has been because of the weaker. Some would see it as weak because you're the bottom, or you're the woman because you're the bottom. But I've read so many stories about this, but it's really owning it, and it's I don't see being a bottom as being weaker, and a lot of people use it, even in Grinder, even in Sniffies. People make jokes about if you're a bottom, you're less than. Right. You're not as macho.
You're less than.
Yeah, you're not as macho.
What about a power bottom?
Well, I think that power bottom is no. They break up a good point. No, a power bottom owns it. A power bottom is like, hey, I am who I am. I can take that. I can take two. I can maybe take a fist. I can take this.
All right.
And that's owning, owning yourself. Right. And but this just goes back to tradition and goes back to generations and generations of, a lot of straight guys, don't be a pussy. Well, they're using the word pussy as being weak or being timid. But let me tell you something. I think pussies are tough. Oh, pussies are very tough because I came out of one. Remember, we talked about that. I was just lazy. Here, mama.
With your cowboy boots.
The cowboy boots. But you know what the pussy endures? The pussy endures so much. Banging and banging. Yeah. But see, own it, and it's tough.
I think it's a tough. Masculine man. They say, "Oh, you're a wet vagina," or you're something. So it's.
Oh yeah, Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle makes a joke, and he goes, "Well, yeah, thank you for saying that I'm a pussy. I'm white. I'm supple. I'm conniving and inviting." It was so. I that's not the exact word, but it was hilarious how they've taken it. So back to bottoms. I think traditionally it was like, and even in the gay community, she's a bottom. They throw the she out as in him being he. But no, if you're bottom, I don't want to get into what I like personally, but own it. Own it.
Well,
Own it. Own it.
This is kind of how coming into the gay community, coming into my gayness, I was timid. I'm 50 at the time, 50 years old. I'm just getting into the gay community. I was timid. So I think that's kind of submissive. You're more submissive because you don't know what's going on, even if you're a top or whatever. But I just came into the gay arena submissive because I was shy. I was a little embarrassed. I was awkward.
A lot of guys like that. A lot of guys like that. Submissive.
So,
but is that heading to what we're about to talk about?
Well,
because
what I'm talking about is that maybe when you come into the gay community for the first time and you are a little more hesitant, you're a little more submissive, you're a little more shy.
Right.
Maybe you're more of a bottom when you come in because you have more of a meek personality, and then as you familiarize yourself and you get comfortable, then you become more of a top.
Well,
No?
we're going to talk opposite. No, because I was a top coming into the community.
Oh, okay.
I was a top because it was I was with women.
I feel like I was a top for 40 years.
No, but
I'm ready to try something different.
Well, look, I'll tell you now, I like both. I like both, but I do. I think owning it, and I think you were. I don't want to out you with what you want to talk about because I think that. Want to talk about? Well, you're talking about the prostate.
Oh, no, that's down the road.
But I'm going to talk about the prostate.
Well, let's talk about that when we get to it.
Well, let's get to it now because I'm already on it.
We can't rush this process.
Well, no, we're talking about bottoming, and I want to tell you why it is and what it's about.
Well, tell me why it is, because what we're going to talk about with the prostate is maybe different. So go ahead. Tell us your prostate.
Well, the prostate is a what's it called? An erogenous zone.
Your G spot, or
it's the G spot for the male, and if you're fingering yourself or you have a dildo or you're getting off and you're able to push on that prostate, oh my God, it takes you to another dimension.
I have not done that.
Oh yes, I have done it. I've seen the light. It's great. I mean, that is your male G spot. Even in, I don't know if you ever watched that movie, American Pie or something like that, when Stifler was donating his sperm at the sperm bank, and the nurse came in there and she put the glove on and she went and she didn't even touch his penis. She just went right up to his anus to his prostate, started rubbing his prostate, and he ejaculated. And you could ejaculate without touching your penis by how you're getting hit on the prostate. If it doesn't matter the size of the penis, how width or whatever. I mean, it feels good, but if it's hitting the prostate just right, you could totally just ejaculate from that, and it just takes you to another level of orgasm. I mean, just think about when you first jacked off and you came. It was such a great experience. Coming with having the prostate teased, played with, being hit, whatever, takes it to another level.
Wow. Well, this is all lubrication for what we're going to talk about.
There we go.
You're lubing everybody up for it. Mm-hmm. Well, that's good to know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have not done that before. All right, so
here, why don't you look? We're going to show you right now. Get up. Get up.
That's so funny. Well, so getting back to these hookup and dating apps.
Yeah.
On a hookup app, you state your preference because you want to make sure that you hook up with the person that you match up with.
Sure. Yeah.
You're a top, you're a bottom, you're sides, you're this, you're that. Yeah. But on a dating app, aren't you looking to friend somebody?
Of course you are. No,
so people putting their sexual position on a dating profile?
I think they're confused with what dating profile they're on if they think it's a hookup app. Because no, I wouldn't want to put all that out there. I would just put out there, I'm looking for a companion, and these are my hobbies. This is what I like. And not sexually.
Best friend. They may turn into a best friend.
Exactly. You may have someone that and you both could be bottoms, and there you go. But you can be great friends. So your point is you see on some of the dating apps that they're just putting too much out there.
Well, that they're putting their sexual preference. And like I
Right.
said, my best friend today, and it's, 55 years old, I have a best friend. We're both gay, and we would not have matched on Match.
Right.
But we met for dinner, and we are the best of friends. His two
I love
kids,
that.
almost same age as mine too.
Really?
We're close in age, and we have a great time together.
That's
Actually, we
good.
shared a room together in Palm Springs for Pride, but separate beds, and we're just
Wait, who is this?
friends.
Doing?
My buddy. I'm not going to say his name again. Well, did I say his name already? David.
Oh, well, wait a minute. That's okay. I had no idea
Yeah.
that it was.
Yeah.
I think he said that. I didn't connect it. I didn't connect it. He's such a sweet guy.
He is.
He's a nice. And that's what I was telling you earlier, David. If you are listening, I really enjoyed spending more time with you at Pride because I got to know you better, and you're a good guy. I enjoyed you.
Here's my pet peeve with dating apps.
Again,
by the way. Well,
another one.
I have another one. If you are 60 years old and your profile contains photos of yourself in high school, in your 20s and your 30s, I don't give a fuck what you looked like 3 years ago. Why the fuck would I care what you looked like 25 years ago? Oh, he was a good-looking guy 25 years ago. Who gives a shit? You're not having kids. I'm not having kids with you. I'm not asking you for your sperm for a baby. Why would you post?
Is that the only pictures they post?
Maybe they post a 5-year-old. I don't know, but why? Why do you, why do you post a picture of yourself if you're 57 years old? You're on a dating app.
You're not listening to my question.
Why would you post?
But you're not listening to my question.
What is your question?
My question is, are they posting the picture at 57 now along with other young pictures of themselves? That's my question.
Well, I don't know. Let's say they're 57 and they have one photo that could be within a 5-year range. And then the other photos are them.
Because that's a big difference.
20, 30 years ago.
It's a big difference of what you're trying. Your point is, are you talking about the ones that just mislead? And now the ones that'll mislead you will give you those old pictures and stuff.
Why would you post? Why would you have a high school photo of yourself? Why would you have a football high school photo of yourself or college photo of yourself from 30 years ago on an app? I don't give a shit what you looked like 30 years ago. Does nothing for me.
Well, and that's it. You're talking about a hooking up app.
No, a dating app. You're on Match and you match up with a guy and his photos. He has one current photo and 5 photos of him 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. Why? Would you care what someone looked like 30 years ago?
I think it's nostalgia. I do.
Well,
But if they're like, but I would have to. But is the guy putting this like, hey, I'm 57 now, but boy, I remember the great years when I was this, and he's referencing that.
I don't care.
But if it's more of like, hey, this is what I look like now, and it's misleading, yeah, I find that as, I could see it. No, but that really annoys you.
Well, I just don't understand why you have a picture of yourself from 30 years ago on.
I get it. I get it when people look. If you're hooking up, and you, hey, this is what I look like, and then you fucking walk into the room and it's this fucking old bag. Well, like, hey, that would be pissy.
If you're a man and a woman is looking for a sperm donor and she's like, oh, you were so handsome. You were fit. You had good body, fat, whatever, yada, yada, yada. That's important. But in the gay world, what do I care what you look like 30 years ago? So moving on to something.
Please, let's fucking move on off of this.
What? So I'm going to jump back really quick. So if someone asks you if you're a top or a bottom, is that offensive to you at all?
No.
Me neither. All right.
Oh,
I own what I am, which is kind of proved at the moment.
What do you think it's screwed?
Well, I don't know. I haven't had.
Do you want to tell the listeners what you are?
Well, I haven't had enough experience, so I think
that's fair. I think that's fair. I think that's a great answer.
I think that I was a top my entire life. I topped one time in this arena, but I was drunk and stoned while I did it. It wasn't at Pride, by the way, but
Sounds like
another drunken
sounds
stump
like it
time.
was last week.
My very first experience. Oh, I want to talk about this for a second. I was talking to another person, and my very first experience with another man, I never counted it as my first experience. When someone would say to me, "Oh, what was your first experience?" It was never that experience, because my very first experience, my wife and I were separated. Our divorce wasn't finalized, and I went on an app different than the three that we talked about. It was a website, because I looked up Craigslist, and I found something through Craigslist. I met somebody, invited me to their house. I stopped at a liquor store and I bought one of those Cuervo Gold margarita mixes with the alcohol already in it.
You really like those pre-made mixers, like the bourbon and that. Okay,
I don't drink. Sorry. So whatever, but I buy this
there's
at
a
the
thing
liquor store.
going here, but that's I'm getting to know you better.
I had a joint, because I would prefer to smoke than whatever. So I pull up in front of this guy's house, maybe like 5 doors down.
Yeah.
I got drunk as a skunk.
Before or when you got
off
there?
of my no, when I got there.
When you got
I
there.
drove to his house. I parked like 5 houses away. I just drank in my car because I was.
Well, that's my question. Okay, so you were drinking in the car before you went into his house. Okay, got it. So
and smoking a joint.
So you were numbing yourself out a little bit.
Well, a lot, because I was so anxious. And I got in his house and I was so drunk and stoned that I really don't remember much.
Okay.
I don't remember most of it. But I was talking to another guy in our group and he was sharing. He's like, "Oh my God." So I never shared that as my first experience because I was like, I don't remember half of it.
Okay. Can I be a father here for a moment?
Yeah.
Because I think we have young listeners and we have older listeners. We have people that have never hooked up before.
Yeah.
This is and thanks for sharing this, because this is very important, Brian. Because your first experience, you needed to numb out. You needed to get the courage,
freaking out.
Yes. Help the inhibitions come down and be able to do that. But there's also, and I'm going to be the security father. There's the other aspect of that, of like you're hooking up, you don't know where you're going or what they have there, or if it's like 5 dudes that want to beat a gay guy's ass.
Yes.
You don't know that, and when you go in
to a stranger's house,
you could get, there's so much that could happen to you, and that's in our whole community. I mean, it's everywhere. So if you're going to do that, you're starting to do that, make sure one of your gay friends knows where you're going, or
just a friend,
whatever, because and most of the time it's not going to happen, but boy, there's a percentage that it does. There's a percentage that it does.
Very true.
And so if you're just, you haven't hooked up with another guy yet, or a woman or whatever, just try not to numb yourself out, and have a backup plan, or have a friend know that you're going to hook up, because there's fucking Jeffrey Dahmer shit.
Yeah, that's true.
There.
And
so be careful.
Sorry. No, that's okay. And I'm not. I shouldn't have viewed it this way, but it was a nice neighborhood. It was a nice house on the outside. And I was like, oh, if I was driving into some neighborhood where someone's like, hey, come upstairs to my dark apartment in the back, I probably would have thought differently. But I was like,
don't let the nice house.
I know, that's
true. It doesn't matter.
So I had this drunken, stoned, barely remember half of what happened experience, and I never shared that as my first experience, for several reasons. And one of the friends in our group was telling me, "Oh my God, Brian, the very first time I was with another man, I was so drunk, and he's like told my same story. I was like, oh, it makes me feel so much better, because I had to be out of my senses to be with a man for the first time.
I totally get it. And traditionally our community, you go to West Hollywood, man, people are pounding so many drinks.
Yes.
And it does. It's trying to numb yourself out, either with alcohol or drugs or marijuana, whatever, in order to get there. And I get it. I totally get it. And I've done that before. So and it's unfortunate you weren't able to remember your first.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember parts of it, but no. And then at the end, I went out. I got in my car because I was parked several houses down. I slept in my car. I remember driving home. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm on the 5 freeway at 5 o'clock in the morning driving home
Wow.
because I spent the night in my car. I was too drunk and stoned to drive home.
Wow.
So, all right. Well, hey, that's a bright and cheery story.
Well, no, thanks. I mean, but that was your first. That was your first time. So thanks for sharing that.
Yes. So I was online doing some research and I found something I thought was kind of funny. It was as a gay person, the top 100 things to do before you die.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the top 100 weren't in my interest, so I didn't put.
Well, can we go through it right now, or
90%?
Well, give us your top 10.
Well, no, we're going to take turns reading these.
All right.
So number one, for things to do as a gay person before you die is attend the San Francisco Pride.
Was that the first Pride ever? One of it was. Where was the first? Talk about.
It was New York.
You were always asking me these questions.
Yeah,
that's a good question.
It was in New York.
Was it?
That was one of the questions I asked you. All right, so that was one of the top ones on the list.
All right, second one
in order
is go on a gay cruise.
Have you been on a gay cruise?
No, I have not, and I do want to go.
Okay,
I do want to go.
Those are like bang festivals, I think. Right?
They are. It's a big old gangbang on the boat.
Yeah, if you are not like a total sex fiend, one of our friends that went on a gay cruise said that people have like little chalk things on their door with the ink markers on it, and they call it a cum dump.
Yeah.
And you just check your name off as you go in and dump your load. I think that's so fucking disgusting. But
well, don't judge. You're judging.
I think that's so fucking disgusting.
Well, they also have you put a marker on their ass. Oh, on their ass? On their ass. Too? But yeah, you put like it's like. Oh Jesus! And I've seen pictures on Sniffies where they have like 5 of them, the cross on one cheek. On their butt? Yeah, on the cheek of their ass. So the guys that are dumping, they just take that and they mark their thing off. So yeah. All right. Well, it's a great, fun family cruise.
This is what's next on my travel agenda. I didn't even know this existed, and I went on the website, and let me tell you, I fucking love it. Go to a gay rodeo. Holy shit! I didn't know those existed. Mm-hmm. But the next one in California, May 2nd of 2015, or May 2nd through 4th of 2025 in Palm Springs. I'm going to that.
I'll go to that. You know, there's on I think Facebook there are gay cowboys. There's a group in there called gay farmers and cowboys, because again I look at that because I grew up hunting and fishing and
are you on the gay farmers?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I have, but you would be perfect. Well, I applied for it, and I think they accepted me, but I have not given my picture and introduced myself yet. But I will.
Your college photo on the farm?
Yeah, 25 to 30 years ago, 40 years ago. But that's the thing, you know. I grew up fishing, I grew up hunting, and I loved it, and I loved the companionship. But I was thinking, wow, how nice would it be to have somebody I love, and he's a man, and we're best friends, and we go do the things that we both like to do. Yes. And go fishing. You're out by a fishing pond, you go fishing, you catch your fish, then you suck each other off, and then you leave. How nice is that?
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, and I applaud these men that are doing that, because I grew up in that environment, and those were the people I was scared of coming out.
Okay, because they seem
they're very macho, masculine, yes. And just like the gay rodeos and all that, I just find it really, and I find it relieving. It's a relief to see men like that are gay, that are farmers, that are. I mean, we're all walks of life.
Yeah, you get to just look at them and admire them.
Oh. And the Wranglers, those tight Wrangler jeans.
Yes, yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. What's your next one?
So the next one was try being a top and a bottom.
Check. I've already done that. Right, check.
Look at you.
What about you?
Well, I told you my very first experience.
Were you the top or bottom?
I tried to be a top, but I was too drunk. I could, and you know what? That's just.
But that's the other thing about being a bum. There's a lot of prep work. There's a lot.
Isn't there? Oh,
prep
let's
work.
have an episode about that because holy shit,
Yeah.
who fucking knew?
Yeah, there's a lot.
This is not to be crude, but when I was in high school, I knew a girl and I had anal sex with her, and I'm sure she didn't do a whole bunch of prep for it, and it didn't gross me out because I was so horny. I didn't know you had to have so much prep work to be a bottom.
Little fudge on your.
I don't remember. I wouldn't have done it if I thought that was.
You had no idea.
But
Okay.
yeah.
Party in West Hollywood.
That's way overrated.
Yeah. Attend Folsom Street Fair, an annual kink, leather, subculture, and alternative sexuality street fair held September that concludes San Francisco's Leather Pride Week. The event started in '84 in California, third largest single day outdoor spectator event and the world's largest leather event.
Have you been to the Folsom Street Fair?
No.
And because it's supposed to be amazing, and it is at the very end of Leather Week. Participate in an AIDS walk. I haven't done that either. You know, I came out during COVID. I don't think there was the AIDS walks the first couple of years that I came out. So I didn't do that. But the next one I recently discovered, join a gym, which is the gay man's church. God, the hot men in the shortest, tightest shorts.
Did you join?
I'm a member of Gold's Gym. Oh,
so that's where they are.
Who the these men are seemingly heterosexual men, but they have nice bodies and they do not mind wearing very short clothes. This is one I didn't know about. By Quality Lube. What's the difference between a lube and a quality lube? Well,
you've got water base and then you have silicone base.
And
lube.
what's the
water base washes off, it's cleaner, but silicone lasts much longer. And it is more expensive than water based.
I thought you just spit on your dick and that was the lube.
Well, you can do that. You can do that. I mean,
I'm joking.
You can easily. It's cheap. It's cheaper. The lube's so expensive.
Oh my god! All right, I've done this. Go to a nude beach. I've done that before.
I went to the one in Maui. There's a nude beach there, and that was very, very. You go to the nude beach, and then there's some trees behind you, and then people just go off in there and hook up, and then come back out. But there's a great gay beach down in San Onofre. Right by Camp Pendleton.
Yeah, it's called Black Beach, isn't it?
No, Black Beach is more in San Diego, I think. But this is the San Onofre State Beach, and it's you get off the freeway, and then you're on a feeder road to the side of the freeway that you're going miles and miles and miles. You get in, and then you have to get into the park. You pay for that, and then there's the regular beach in the bluffs. You can camp out there. They have showers and stuff. But if you go all the way to the very end where you can't go anymore, that's actually Camp Pendleton. That's government land. So you park there, then take the trail down to the beach. Because again, these are like, I don't know, 100-foot, 200-foot bluffs. And so you go down and then you go to the very end. And then there's these piers that are kind of like a gate, but you walk right through them. And then you go on to Camp Pendleton's property there. And you go down about a mile or two.
And you're naked on...
Oh, it's all gay beach. It's all gay beach. And then there's the bluffs where people go back in there and hook up. But they have tents. They put like day tents and stuff.
What?
Yeah, I tell you what. It's fun. That's one of them. I tell you, that is really fun. But then before you get to the piers and stuff and you go over into Pendleton's property, that's the straight nude beach. So there's straight people there, nude beach, but then you go another mile too where no one else is in between and you're on the government property. And yeah, the fucking Marines, they come flying over and they look at the guys and stuff. And I'm like,
I must have only been to a straight nude beach because there were women there.
Yeah.
A couple, husband and wife, like couples there.
Yeah.
All right, this is the one you were talking about, and I printed this. So next on the list was find your prostate. Yeah. Massaging and milking the prostate involves stimulating the gland until it releases a milky fluid from the penis, delivering both therapeutic benefits and heightens sexual sensations.
Amen.
So I wrote down how to find your prostate.
Oh.
So why don't you tell our listeners how to find their prostate, John?
All right. Well, this is according to you.
This is according to the website.
The website. Okay.
Yes.
How to find your prostate. Take a shower and clean your butt. All right. Well,
That
you
sounds
got to
like
get
a
more
good-
descriptive than that. You gotta either get a probe. They sell them. It's called the bulb.
Oh
and
yeah.
You put
Oh,
water
you
in.
douche out your butt to find
douche
your
the- You
prostate.
gotta. Well, you don't have to douche it out, but if
All
you
right.
want to be clean,
Okay.
you do that first,
Okay.
and then
This is a funny one. The next one.
trim your fingernails.
Can you imagine?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So, all right.
Yeah.
Clean your butt and cut your fingernails.
Cut your fingernails and brush your teeth. Put deodorant on.
Oh god.
'Cause- and then apply lube to your index finger. Lay down on your side with your knees up to your chest and relax your rectum. Gently insert your index finger and aim it without bending between your belly button and penis. Yeah, so you're going up and
Two fingers.
well, going up.
Oh, with your fists too. All
Well,
right.
you can build up to that.
All right.
You know, if you're committed.
All right. So you're laying on your side. You got a lubed up finger or two. You're relaxing your prostate.
Yeah.
You point it towards between your belly button and your penis.
Yes, because you're going up, and that's where your prostate is. And it's just like when the doctors, checking your prostate for cancer.
Yes.
So your regular exam. And then once you're doing that, well, here, let me continue reading. Gently insert you. Okay, reading that. Number 7, you should start to feel your prostate once your middle knuckle enters your rectum. On contact, the prostate should feel soft and smooth, and you may experience a brief sensation of needing to urinate. True. So when you're cleaning yourself, go ahead and if you have to piss, take a piss too.
And then you just sit there with your knuckle deep and you just massage your prostate and you milk your.
Yeah, you can do that, but then you can jack off at the same time, and you can stroke yourself, and then while
you got one in the, what do they call that?
One in the hole.
So you're working. So I guess you would need to do that with your left hand because I've never jacked off with my right. I've never jacked off with my left. I've tried it, but it hasn't worked.
I use both hands.
I don't use both. Oh, you have to use both hands. I jack off with my right hand. So good to know. Don't stick the wrong finger.
Well, and the other thing too is if you sleep on that right hand and it becomes numb, then jack off. It makes you feel like someone else is jacking you.
Oh, really? Didn't know that. All right, that's good to know too. All right, so
listen, but there's also toys that you can, vibrating toys and all of that. I mean, guys, it takes
I don't know
it takes
toy
it to another level. Oh, well, all right, we'll get you some toys. There's one that you can. It's a bulb. It's like a deflated bulb that you put into your anus. And then there's a pump on it, and you pump it, and it opens up, and it opens up, and it pushes on your prostate.
Oh, really? And you're not worried about getting any of that lost up there, like one of those emergency room photos?
Well, of course, there's always that possibility, and you just need to, be but you need to be aware. Just you got to be careful, and look, if you have a friend, it's nice to do it with someone else. But if you don't, look, and to
Are there hookups where you just massage each other's?
Yeah, there's. Put it on sniffies. What you want, if whatever you want. You want to just play with toys, you can do that. But any dildos you use or anything like that, make sure there's a base that's big enough to stop it because you don't want anything. I mean, come on, guys, listen. And that's the other thing. There's a lot of people on here, a lot of men on here that are probably already doing that and they're enjoying it. And that's the whole thing. Make sure if you're putting anything up in there that you're able to hold it and get it out because you don't want that to go up in there and then you have to go to the emergency room that everybody knows. Everybody knows, But here's the other thing that I think about because you talk about people fisting. There's people that get fisted with the whole hand that goes in there, and they're relaxing themselves and they can do that. And there is a way if something does get caught up in there. If you're able to work it, you can get your finger in there, whatever, to pull it out. but be careful. Don't use. I know we always make jokes of cucumbers and all of that, because if you're using the vegetables or whatever, it's good. You're eating vegetables, but don't eat them in your ass because it doesn't count. And secondly, they could get caught up in.
Yeah, and that's not on our list of things to do.
No, I should have written this.
Shove a vegetable up your butt isn't on the list before you die.
But again, men that are exploring, because maybe they're not exploring with another man, but they're exploring that.
Explore knuckle deep. All right. Oh
which
my
knuckle?
Goodness. The very next. All right. So the next one. Moving on. Visit Stonewall in New York City. I've not thought to do that, but that's on there. Visit Berlin. That is like a gay mecca.
You know.
Yes.
I heard rumors that Hitler was gay.
All right. Could be. I don't know.
But that's interesting. I don't know. Go to Berlin.
Yeah. Oh, it's supposed to be a massive, like parade of gay men and women there. The next time I'm in New York, visit the Leslie Lohman Museum of Gay and Lesbian Art. Her museum is the only dedicated LGBTQ art museum in the world with a mission to exhibit and preserve LGBTQ art.
Cool.
So
I like that.
The next one should have been number 1 because these are actually in order. So I think, this was number 83 on the list. See a therapist. Fucking see a therapist first. That should be number 1.
Listen, see a therapist first. But you know what? Listen, it's so interesting. You know, my mother's generation, she's in her 80s. They would always listen to the doctor. I'll do what the doctor says. Fuck that. Question the doctor. Always question the doctor. Because honestly, it's so interesting after I left Texas and I came to California, and then I go back and my mom's having back surgery and the doctor's in there talking about, okay, we're going to do this. And I'm like, wait a minute. If you do this, I questioned them. Yeah. And it was so interesting because none of my brothers and sisters and nobody would ever question the doctor. Fuck that. Yeah. You know?
Well, if you
and question your therapist. That's my point. 100%. My point is question the therapist. They're not, they're not always right. Which
they're not always good.
And they're not always good. There was one therapist that I went to because this was when I was having these feelings. I was having these feelings of like, I'm not straight. Yeah. And I'm a married man. And
I lay in bed at night with my knuckles rubbing my prostate.
Exactly. And I'm talking to this therapist, and I'm like, I like my married life. I like having my children, but I'm having a lot of. He goes, just cheat, just go and do it. She'll never know. Go and do it, and you'll be fine. That was probably the worst fucking advice,
100%,
that anyone could ever give. But do go and talk to a therapist seriously, and question them. And if you don't agree with them, tell them you don't agree with them. Because a good therapist would say, you know what, I appreciate you disagreeing with me. And you know what, that's something maybe I should look at it a different way. It's there to get the therapy and to discuss.
And for myself, when I was coming out and I shared my bad therapy story where I met a therapist and what he said, I had a list of 3 people. I made an appointment with 3 different therapists. I was interviewing them. I didn't just go with I didn't just show up and like, this is my therapist. Yeah. I interviewed 3 separate therapists so I could find one that really resonated with what I needed.
And do that. All right, what's next? Because we're running out of time here.
Buy sexy underwear. That was the very first thing I did was I bought sexy underwear. I love my sexy underwear. And then the next one was go to Puerto Vallarta. Yeah. Which I'm planning to do next year.
I've been there.
I haven't. Well, you've been as a heterosexual man. Yeah. Not been as.
Well, and let me tell you, we were at the resort and everything, and I was not out, but the married men that were there that were cruising each other.
Oh, the married men.
The married men. The gay men. Not the gay men. No. And even my sex therapist, who's going to be a guest on here, She goes, oh, that is so common. It's very common that, because they're not out, but they want to hook up.
I think they cruise you at the
They
gym
totally
too.
Oh,
Think they
of course
cruise you all
they
over
do.
the place.
I love Puerto Vallarta. There's a resort there. You're going to go to that resort in Puerto Vallarta. It's
Oh,
called
no.
either Blue Chairs. I think it's called Blue Chairs. Look that up. I think it's
The
called
Blue Oyster.
It's
You're a movie buff. The Blue Oyster.
But the Blue Chairs, check that one out. I think that was a gay resort there.
All right.
This has been great.
We have are you done with this one, or you want to go a little longer?
No, I got to go pick up my.
Oh, well, there you
I
go.
got to take
All
my
right.
son, my beautiful baby
Oh.
boy. He's 13, and we've got basketball today. So he's played the tournament yesterday. He's playing another tournament, and I'm really enjoying.
I love basketball. I did travel ball with my son. I love that. I love it.
Oh, travel ball, yeah. You got to be committed. Well, this is travel basketball. We go.
This is what we do. Travel
Yeah.
basketball.
We
You're
go
in
to
San Diego. You're
Palm
in
Springs.
Anaheim. You're in
everywhere.
Vegas. You're freaking everywhere.
Which is great because this one's not that far. It's El Camino College, and it's maybe 30, 40 minutes away. But I gotta go. I gotta go get my boy. I'm so excited.
Play where Kobe had his gym up in where was that? Westlake Village.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
Used to play there. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Take
Write
care.
in, coming inside out at
Please do.
gmail.com.
Thank you, Brian.
Bye.
Bye.